Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday night. Thank you for coming by. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
Hello, Millie. Hello,
How is
everyone.
everyone this week? Good?
Really
Great,
good. Yeah,
great.
really
Yeah?
good. I had a
Good.
great day today.
Did you? Okay, good.
I
I love
did.
that.
Yeah. I spent like at least 4 hours of it on the phone with people that I haven't got to talk to in that way. So it was wonderful. Like 2.5 hours and an hour and a half, almost two on the other one. And great conversations. And yeah, I'm feeling wonderful.
And you look like a
Yeah,
teenager, so I think it must have done something for you, you know?
excellent.
I love it. I love it. How you doing, Lucky?
Great, great. Just keep it busy.
Good.
Cleaning, getting ready for the summer, and then the
That's
winter
wonderful.
comes back again in the summer. It's going to be really warm tomorrow, then cold the next day, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do about that? I guess we
That's what
just
the
have to
Northeast
roll
is
with it.
like. Yeah.
Yep. How about you, Victor? How you doing? 1 week
I'm
older?
doing well. I'm doing well. Had a great day. It was a boyo weekend, and that's rolling into next week too because of spring break. So he is here now.
Oh, nice.
So we
Wonderful.
will be getting to do more of the things we do so very well when we're together, making beautiful memories. And so great day today. It flew by. Of course, I mentioned that in Tour's
Awesome.
Wave. How time is slipping. Sorry, into the future. Yeah,
And
doing great though. The energy has been weird ass though the last couple of days. Just
yes,
different.
it has.
And with the dreams and everybody having all these same experiences together. Hey,
Hmm.
are the fairies involved in that?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we'll
Let's
find
say
out.
hi, some of our friends here. I'm gonna just do it on my telephone. Guys, I'm driving again, so bear with me. I'm
Oh,
getting
I
used
thought
to
like
it.
right now.
No, no,
I was
no,
like,
no.
we can't
Stick
even
it
see
to
out
it.
your back window.
I
That
I
can't be
do
Stick it
that a
safe.
to it.
lot, right? Yeah, sure. But no, I the comments look smaller on the screen, but I'm not gonna mess with it right now. But let's say hello to everyone. I see Christine here and Scotty Boy and Suki and Sarah, time for beaching, and Richard and Mary Wins and Lucia, Lovey, Alex. Who else do I have here? Hey Trista, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, thanks.
There's Lucky. There am I. And let's see. Oh, we have First Love to Jimena. So good to
Ooh,
see you, my witchy
I'm in.
sister.
Fun.
I
Yeah,
don't know if she's still here. When I tried to tag her earlier, she was not here at the
not
time.
here. Well, now that the
No.
times changed, I don't know what
Yeah.
time it is where she is. So,
Now we're the same again, so it's like
oh,
9:04 for her.
so you and her are at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and you guys are 2 hours behind. Okay. Very good. And are you on Central Time? Mountain
Mountain.
Time?
No,
Mountain. Okay. All right. You're Central Time.
Who's
I'm Central
offended?
Time.
So you're only 1 hour back. Okay. Got it. I got it. All right, guys. So tonight, for real, we're going to talk about the fairies. And, a lot of people, when I was first reintroduced to the fairies, because, when you're younger, you read all these great stories and, who can not talk about Tinkerbell? Like today, I was actually down a Peter Pan rabbit hole. But I mean, I think one of the most famous fairies of all is Tinkerbell. And they're whimsical and they're fun. And I saw a bunch of the Tinkerbell movies with my kids. Um, and I love them. And they were everything that I always envisioned a fairy to be. And then as I got older, I started learning that there's the Fae, and the Fae are all fairies, I guess, are tricksters, but the Fae were the fairies that are not necessarily always nice. And I started learning about how people don't always necessarily want to mess with the fairies. They don't want any kind of relationship with them because they can be tricksters. And in order to avoid any of that, they just rather not. So that was just a completely new concept to me. And
Hmm.
then as I continued my spiritual awakening, I started learning more and more about the fairies. And it was through a reader that I was watching early on that I started getting introduced to things where
You're we can't hear you properly right now.
No? How about
There,
it?
now you're back.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. I
Oh,
was messing with my settings yesterday. No? No?
not quite. Thank you, Lucky.
Okay.
There we go.
There, now you're good.
Uh,
There we go. Okay, yeah. Consistently
yeah?
so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do have that prompt open because yesterday I was messing with that because I was setting up some stuff on my computer. Okay, so where did I leave off? So anyway, it was this one reader that showed me how to invite them in, and I thought, hey, you know what? Let's do it. And I did it, and slowly but surely, I would see little flashes out of the side of my eyes, and it wasn't like sparkles, like what I associate angels and things like that. These were flashes that kind of looked like the superhero flash, literally little streams of moving light very, very fast out of the corners of my eye. And I realized that it worked. I have not had any bad experiences. I work with them, but I almost work with them naively and very whimsical, I would say. Oh, we lost Trista. Okay. All right, she'll pop back. Because, and I say naively because to me, I always assumed that they were always good. And even though I had heard those stories, I have not had any bad experiences with them. Um, how about any of you guys? Have you guys had any experiences with them or heard any of the things that I'm talking about?
Can I interject something here?
Yes.
Perhaps when it comes to fairies, and somebody maybe in chat, we'll see what everyone thinks about it. Maybe it's comes down to like attracts like. You know, if you're a complete dickhead all the time, you're probably going to get those kind of fairies around you because it's, you know, like attracts like. And if you're in good energy, and they're going to want to be around that energy. You see, they're going to want to, the good ones are going to want to be around it because, hey, I like to be around Millie because she has good energy. So why wouldn't a fairy? That's why I like to be around Lucky too, because he has good energy.
There
And
you go.
Trista, you see, so in a sense, we're very much like them. But go
That's why
ahead, Lucky, if you have an experience.
the fairies brought her back.
I know. Yay.
I I
Scotty,
I,
you're funny.
I never invited them in. They kind of introduced themselves to me. Um, it, Long story short, I was sent to a place that supposedly had a demon in the woods. So I went there and met it, and it wasn't a demon. It was a protective entity because people were littering and just making a mess and causing trouble. So I said, okay, how can we prevent this? I'm like, you're fine. He's like, you're cool. We know you clean. You do the good thing. You're not the problem. Those ones are the problem. I'm not dealing with that. I won't back down. So then I said, okay, how about this? Clean up. We'll have clean up and work on cleaning up the woods and taking the trash out, and it calmed down. And at which point I got introduced to the little people through another entity who was showing, and he actually adored them. And it was more of a, I didn't directly deal with the fairies as much as he dealt with them, the intermediary. But he was
And this
more
was
of
a
a,
human?
no, he was
Oh,
a spirit,
okay.
a
Okay,
very
good. Thanks for asking.
whimsical child, very
Yeah.
childlike spirit, who I would deal with him, and he would deal with the beings. So I don't want to call them the Fey folk because that's another term that you know they like to speak. They have other names, forest children and other things. They go by whatever name they want, but they're groups of them. The problem is when you deal with groups of them, as long as you express love and passion and niceness and compassion and kindness, they're cool. But if you cause trouble in their forest, you're going to get trouble back.
Mhm.
But I do know this forest. There was a woman who got lost in that forest. She got there. She came in there before sunset. Had an argument with her boyfriend. Went to the woods. Was in a bad mood, and she was stuck there for 6 hours and couldn't get out.
Oh,
The problem is this forest has two loops. It's not hard. You follow a loop, you're not going to get lost. It's at most an hour to get, around one loop. And she was lost for 6 hours. And she said that everything looked the same. And until she just gave up and sat down, and someone else found her. One of the searchers came and found her. And she was in tears because she said, "It's the same. How do we get out? How do we get out?" And the guy's like, "It's just a couple 100 feet back this way." And he brought her out, and she was so confused. But that's what happened. And that was after the fact, where they said it was haunted by an evil entity and a demon. I'm like, I don't think so.
Huh.
But yeah, they will do things like mess up your trails, and you'll repeat the same trail over and over again, which was claiming. And I looked up afterwards, and they were responsible for it. At least that's what the story was. Actually, that was a native person who told me, and Dave was also believing in fairies, but they call it something different.
Mm.
It's
And that's
fascinating,
totally,
but she
yeah.
was in a bad mood. She was in a really bad mood, so maybe Victor does have a point there. I always never understood how she got so lost, but Victor has a good point. If she was in such a negative, bad mood, maybe they reciprocated, because maybe she was causing trouble, and maybe she was breaking trees or something. Who knows what she was doing?
Or littered.
Oh,
They don't like that.
That's a good point. Maybe she we don't know what she was carrying with her, but yeah. And it was I think it was around the solstice too, which was a weird thing, or one of the I don't remember exactly, because I think it was around now, but it was a warmer time. But again, it was a weird story. It was a really weird story. And again, it was so confusing. Like, how could someone get lost for 6 hours in these woods? All the trails are marked. She had a flashlight and everything. The flashlight, there's nothing. For 6 hours, the flashlight did work. So that's another weird thing.
huh.
She was terrified the flashlight would die. But no, it was that story is bizarre in of itself. But yeah, there were searchers. There were probably like 6 or 7 searchers looking for her, going out. Because again, it's 2 loops. So they all broke up in groups of 2. And then one person found her, but again, he was up ahead while another one was shortly behind. So yeah, it was weird. It was a weird story. Those words are
Well,
weird, anyways.
so that brings up something else. Everyone talks about like don't walk through a fairy ring and how they're portals. So could she have, in her ignorance, because people don't know, right? And I think that I was having a conversation with Trista last week, just in general, and we were talking about that we didn't know, or maybe it was everybody, that we didn't know exactly like how a fairy ring looks. Like, is it really just mushrooms, or is it flowers? Is it out of place? Could anyone that's walking in the forest or in a park or on a trail accidentally walk through one of these and not know?
I think in a forest it would be really hard to see, right? Because the ones that we looked at when we were talking about it, like some were with mushrooms, but some were just like a darker ring of grass.
Right.
So, I mean, and even a ring of mushrooms in a forest, if that, depending on the forest floor, yeah, you
Right.
could totally miss that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
not with any kind of not with any kind of malice or anything like that. Just minding your own business, not even being I don't want to say like being unaware. It's just the thing of being unaware. But then someone would say, "Hey, you know what? That's messed up because that person didn't know any better and they messed with them." So I don't know. Maybe it was time to learn that lesson.
Can I ask a question to you, Millie?
Sure.
Do you think that now, if you've seen any reports about people experiencing the Oz effect, do you know what I mean by the Oz effect?
No.
Where everything gets really, almost kind of closes in on you and you feel really out of place. It could be in the forest, you could be in a store. It's just that high strain. Just Linda Moulton Howe talks about this a lot. And it's called the Oz effect. Everything gets really weird. And this gets kind of into that missing 411, David Pilates. This stuff he talks about is that Oz effect when people start getting you start getting this really weird sensation, and things maybe don't jive with you. And is that tied to fairies?
Okay.
Any of your opinions in any way?
What I have heard of, hey Sarah, is of people getting hit like with the Havana syndrome, which is like a targeted energy weapon
Hmm.
that is disorienting. And usually it's like a high frequency. I think they've said like microwaves and things like that. And there was a bunch of spies, I guess, in Cuba that were at doing something, and then they got affected with this, and that's how they got the name Havana syndrome or whatnot. And there's been people that like they aren't the same after they get hit with these energy weapons. So could they be using fairy technology? Could the fairies do something like
Hmm.
that that disorientates you in such a way? Because I mean, like I've heard people talking about, like, if you see the cross trees, don't go sit under that because that's a portal.
Hmm.
Don't go if you're in the woods hiking and you see a staircase and you're like, oh, this is so cool, this is, maybe something that used to be here, let's go take a picture, a selfie, right? Let's go up the stairs. Don't do that. That's a portal, and it's usually not a good portal. So there's a bunch of elementals out there that maybe people say, oh, those are fairies, and they're really not, because there's different elementals and different things out there in the forest that can disorientate you in one way or another. Like, so she's walking in circles, and I mean, I don't know if Bucky said how big that place was. I would think she walked into a portal. And what's weird though is that her flashlight didn't go out, because a lot of times too, like
Hmm.
when people have experiences with Sasquatch and whatnot, they say it drains their cell phone batteries, or even UFO encounters. Right away, their stuff it loses power, and the battery's shot. So that's curious.
Hmm.
I don't know why. That was one of the weirder parts of it, where, yeah, normally you hear the stories of everything draining, especially spirits and ghost stuff. But this one, she did not lose her battery in her flashlight for 6 hours. Um, and her cell phone was still fine the whole time, but she got no service.
Hmm.
It was weird. But I think there is a ring there. I think there's a ring. I do remember that there's a ring, and the trees don't grow in that certain circle. And it's one of those weird things that everyone sees, and it's not a complete
Oh.
circle; it's more of an oval. But it's near where they found her,
Hmm.
very close. So she might have been found in there, and he might have pulled her out of it, which is, I believe, the only way you can get out of a fear ring is someone else pulling you out of it. At least that's one of the stories. At least I don't know. That was a whole weird thing, but I wasn't there for this. I'm just hearing this. I got this whole story third hand. But I
Hmm.
do remember she was talking about children's laughter. She kept hearing children laughing all around her. She was calling to them, and they would just laugh and laugh. So
Ooh.
maybe they were not fairies. Maybe there was something else that, I mean, I
I
don't know
could
what.
see fairies manifesting as children's laughter, though.
Mm-hmm.
And
That
it was,
feels like
yeah,
fairies.
high pitched.
Oh,
Ugh,
that's
that's
interesting.
kind of creepy.
Oh,
Sorry, love you guys, but kind of creepy.
oh yeah, absolutely. But I never heard the voices of the laughter of the children whenever I saw him, and I saw them, but never communicated directly with them. I communicated with the small spirit, and he manifested as a small spirit because, again, the fairies were not that big. At least these fairies. Actually, fairies come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, don't
Hmm.
they?
Yes,
Hmm.
they do.
And some have wings and some do not. These had, I don't know, they didn't all have wings, but they were running around and jumping in trees, and that's another thing. If you see them, they can be looking at you from the trees up, and that's disconcerting because they look at you like a child, unsure of you, but still precocious as hell.
Hmm.
So you actually see them then?
Yes, I didn't talk to them. I talked to the little spirit who talked to them directly. It was an intermediary, and I was fine with that because I wasn't sure if me getting a connection to them might put me in a, which also might be me. I also would rather him be the intermediary because I didn't want a connection with them because I wasn't sure what they were or how to deal with them. I didn't want to be rude. I also didn't want to get myself into an agreement that I wasn't familiar with because I do know fairies will put you into agreements that you don't know all the facts. So,
I was smart.
Hmm.
Wow.
no,
So
it was
you
luck.
see them and
It
you
was
don't
luck.
see them fast. You see them. You literally see them slow,
No,
like not in an orb. Like you see them.
remember, I saw lots of them, like several dozen of them. So some were fast, some were slow. The fast ones, they did have wings. They had wings in their feet too, back,
Hmm.
feet. They were between a foot to 2 feet tall, and they
Ooh.
were kind of transparent, but very much light colors, soft colors, like pinks and light blues and
Oh,
purples. A lot of purple. And they also,
Hmm.
when they flew, they would fly with like it was like they were like blurry. So, but
I
again,
think that's
they
what
would
I've seen. That's cool.
shoot. They would
And
never
when
fly
I've
up. They would fly at an angle, and then in the trees and watch you and look at you and see, did you see me? That kind of thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not. And my friend, the spirit, would laugh, because he thought this was the most hilarious thing. He was having a great old time, and I'm like, okay, as long as you're okay with this, because he was a very much peaceful, kind spirit.
Huh.
when I've seen them, it's never been clear like that, but
Yeah.
I'll see like the first time I was trying to teach myself to see energy fields with my eyes, which I have since given up on. I just see it with my heart, I guess. But I'm like staring at the trees in our like because where I lived at the time, our patio opened into this really nice courtyard. So I'd go out there and bond with nature, stare at the stars depending on the time of day. But anyway, so I'm looking at this tree and trying to see its energy. And what I saw when I like relaxed my eyes was these little specks that it was almost like sparkles, but they flew really, really erratically. Like it couldn't have been anything blowing in the wind. It couldn't have been like, it couldn't have been anything that makes sense. Not dust and not like, like not the way they were moving. And so I went back in and I said to my roommate, like I described it, and he's like, I think that's probably fairies.
Wow.
And then we looked into it, and I don't, oh yeah, we did have, yeah, I would have had to have probably looked online. But like when I first started getting into fairies, that was, kind of pre-internet by a little bit, at least in my world. But where I read a lot in books, and Doreen Virtue has a really good book called Healing with the Fairies, where she talks about her experiences with them and how they helped her. And I never really feared them because I felt like, or maybe not past tense, but I feel like I live as enough in harmony with the earth that they're not going to get pissed off at me the way they could at somebody else. And there was a couple of experiences. So when I had first moved up here, we were staying with I was staying with my friend and her mom and stepdad. And near their house, there was this little kind of park area, and you could see like it was just grass and then a bunch of trees. And if you went down to the trees, it actually like sloped inward and was like this little ditch with all these beautiful trees. So I would go down there for time by myself and to meditate and smoke dope and stuff. Oops, am I allowed to say that on the show? I mean, nothing.
Commune with nature.
So
In Jesus.
yeah.
There you go.
So so but it was full of trash. Like there was just so much garbage there. So I think the third time I went, I took a whole bunch of garbage bags with me and I cleaned it up. There was even like there was a chair, like a broken chair. There was like a monitor. There was yeah a few. There was a Big Mac container, like a styrofoam Big Mac container, and this was
Ooh.
not long enough ago for that to be okay. Like this was, well, 2001, but still, like they'd been gone for years. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I cleaned it all up and I took everything out and then um, sat back down and I mean I would go there. Well, maybe it wasn't the third time. I don't know, but I'd go and I'd sit and it was nice, right? And this time I went and I sat, and then after I sat for not very long, suddenly like the birds and the animals started making noises, and I was like, "Oh, this is different." So I just sat completely still and completely quiet and let like, "Oh, I'm frozen again." And let all of nature kind of come up around me, and it was just so magical. And I felt that appreciation, right? So yeah, it was wonderful. Um, and I've got a few other stories. I don't want to dominate though, but
No,
um,
it's good because I don't think that everyone has the same experience. Like I'm even peeking
yeah,
at the comments, and we'll go back and address them. But I think that there's like a misconception as to what it is. Like originally, I had seen like orbs in
hmm
pictures, not in real life, of people getting visited by fairies like that, and that's what I thought that they were like. So I'm
hmm
appreciating hearing from people that I know discussing it and
yeah,
telling me, no, I saw this or I saw that, because I know that not everyone's experience is the same, and we can see different things. Like I don't
yeah.
usually see things, actually. Like I'll see things out of the corner of my eye, but I don't necessarily, like I'm not a seer like that, or
And
not fully developed yet. How's that?
and that's the thing with the fairies too, because I've definitely had more experiences with them where I didn't see them, but I knew, right? So another time, we had eaten some funguses and, and and then we're like, okay, we need to get outside because like it's just stifling inside. So we're going to go for a walk. So my roommate and I go for a walk, and we had been looking at, and I mean, there's going to be some influence here too, but we had been looking at the Good Fairies, Bad Fairies book from Brian Frode, which is just incredible. And like the pictures, you'll just see the faces everywhere, and you can stare at that picture and see like 50 different faces coming out, coming out. Like the more you look, the more they pop out at you. And so we end up going for a walk after, and every tree that we saw, we could see faces in it and see fairies and feel what their mood was. Like we would agree, we'd be walking up to a tree and Christy would say, "Oh, that one looks mean." And I would see the same face that she saw, or so I assume, because I also saw something that looked really, mean. And then on our way back home, as we're walking. And I believe we had already walked that path and we're on our way back. And it was near Valentine's Day, to be fair. Well, yeah, it would have been sometime shortly after. But we found like a Ziploc bag full of chocolates, like Valentine's Day chocolates. And I was like, oh, it's a gift from the fairies. So I picked it up and I took it with me and I put it in sacred space. I wasn't going to eat them because who knows what's going on there, but yeah, but I took it out. You can't not appreciate a gift from the fairies, right? And it felt so direct. And it really, the other fascinating part of this is I was taking a Wicca course at the time, and um, we were on Air Week, and so like each week we were talking about an element, and our our instructor was like, so go into this week. So this week we're in air, this week we're in fire. And so we were in air week just to see how that element affected us that week. And so like water week, I cried every single day for water week. Not always sad tears, but tears flowed every single day. Fire week, I had so much energy. Earth week, I felt so balanced and grounded. And air week, I felt a little flighty, but then we, had this experience and I'm like, this is air, like fairies. I mean, fairies are all the elements, but I associate them, and especially at that time, with air. So then I was, I went back to our group and like had to tell them all about my trip. And it was a little bit
Literally.
awkward because we had like one mother son group that was there as well. So like there's this, 14-year-old kid, and I'm like, yeah, so we kind of did some things.
Oh,
Went for this walk, bonded with the fairies. But yeah, yeah. So super fascinating stuff for sure. I think I'm done. I think that was my
that's
stories.
pretty wild, though. No,
Yeah.
that's great, and you touched on a great point because the fairies have different elements.
Hmm.
So everyone associates maybe all fairies flying, and here we have Lucky that's told us no. Some of them are like, I knew some of them were tall. They're not all the same size, but they're different. So
Hmm.
it's and you could group it as, oh, they're all elementals, but no, they're all types of fairies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty wild that you actually got to see them in that book. That book is actually, it's probably here in my layers because it was one of the decoys for last
Mm.
week.
Oh yeah. That's not the one that I should. Okay, I'm gonna back out and hope that I can come back on without freezing again, and I'll grab my
You
book.
actually
I
are in
also,
a good pose. Let me see. I'm like
well,
just
I don't
playing with
know
the
about
stuff
that. I look a little weird,
that I'm learning as you guys speak.
or a little
Victor, I know
weirder
that
than
you
normal.
also have had an experience with the fairies that you've seen.
I've actually had a couple because
Oh,
I
good.
remembered one. I shared one with you. All right. Would you like me to share one?
Yes,
Is that
please.
okay?
Yeah, and
I
I'm
had
gonna
one
listen. I'm
out
just
in Scottsdale, Arizona, for you Arizona people. And at the time, I was staying in a house that had a courtyard, as many of them do out there. And this interior courtyard had these little shrubs. And I was sitting there with my then girlfriend. And we were literally sitting there getting some sun. And it was probably April, May. It was maybe late winter because, in Arizona, it's pretty nice. So we're taking some sun in. And we were both kind of looking in the same direction, listening to some nice music, and looking in the same general direction. And I'm looking at a shrub. This is inside. It's not windy or anything. This is inside that courtyard. And one of those little branches on the shrub goes and bends like this, and then is released and then springs back up. And I said, "Did you see that?" And she goes, "Yes, I saw that." And that was an experience there. And then, of course, we started feeling out to it. And I didn't feel anything. Well, I was pretty new. That was like when I was brand new. So, and then another experience I had was probably 5 years later. I was on a trail with a friend of mine, and we were walking. And this is not it's not out super out in the boonies or anything. It's around a ranch that is very popular here. And we were just on the trail, and I always play music. I don't play it loud on the trail. It's just I played it loud enough that we could hear it on my phone. So not any external speakers. I'm not boomboxing it out there or anything. It's nice, nice. You guys, well, some of you know what I listen to, but had that nice music on, having that experience, and then she stops in front of me, the lady that was with me, and she goes, "Wow, my leg hurts." And she looks down, and she's bloodied on her leg, or maybe on her calf. And I look down on mine, and I'm bloodied almost in the same exact spot. And then we didn't think anything of it other than having a little bit of Oz effect going on. And but the thing is, my music was different. My music was about 45 minutes into the song because some of the music I had was really, really long. I was like, how did I get on this music? So we may have had some encounter in that regard because that was the weird thing. We were both bloodied on our legs, like we'd been bitten by something or just stabbed maybe. And and my music was forward. And I don't think I bumped it or hit it or anything because your phone will lock. I think I had my phone locked with the music on, so it would just play. And the music being 2 or 3 songs down the line was the telltale thing that something happened because we both got bloody. Yeah, you can get bloody. We're wearing shorts, so you can, if you ever go hiking on a regular basis, you know how that can happen. And so that was my other interesting. I'm not going to say that was Fae related because it could have been them related. It could be anything related, or maybe we just walked by something, wait a minute, bush. We walked by it and got snagged on it, both of us, and just happened to notice it 50 feet later or something. So hard to say, hard to say. But I have one more thing. How are we doing time wise?
We're fine.
I have a friend. I have a friend that sees them all the time, almost on demand. And this friend does this. She does it by looking at the space in between. I've mentioned this before. I think I've mentioned it here. As looking at the space in between, and everybody at home can try this right now. They can try it right now. As to focus on a wall, find a wall, something close to you, and look at that wall, and then slowly close your eyes so you can just barely see out of them. But focus on the space in between.
That's what I did when I saw them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
Because that's how I was told to
Oh.
see energy fields too.
Okay.
Yes, and auras.
Yeah.
That's soft gaze. Adam calls it.
Oh, is that what it's called? Soft gaze?
Oh, that's what Adam calls it. I mean, I don't know that that's like the term, but he's like, oh yeah, just kind of like you're looking at, like when you scry, like if I scry into a flame or people scry into water. So it's like you're looking at it, but you're not looking at it. So it's that soft gaze.
I think that's very powerful. That is a very powerful way to look at something. Soft gaze. I like that. I like
Oh,
that.
look at that. Sarah sees aura colors. That's so cool. See, I don't always see them. Oh, see, okay. So Suki, Suki knows. She says soft gaze is the term. I love that.
Well, let me interject something. Since
Yeah,
Sarah,
I know I'm frozen again. I'm
Since
not
Sarah-
going to bother.
Sarah brought that up. She can even see it off, because I know Sarah, by the way, but she can even see an aura off of a picture.
Oh, cool. Can she see it on us right now? That'd be cool.
Well, ask her. She may be seeing all of our auras right now.
Yeah, Sarah, can you see our auras right now? That'd be cool. I don't know if my lights are bright enough, but
Your light is
I don't
always
know if I'm
bright.
standing still. I don't know if I'm standing still enough.
thank you. I was just gonna say, Trista, you look very, but you know what? You're like so into it. You're so pensive. I would.
I don't know. I think I look bored.
I don't know. It's kind of like when you used to fall asleep in class in college, and you're trying to be respectful, but you're passing out. So you're like, all right, like how do I?
Yeah, no, I would wake up with like the binder clip, meshed into my face.
Big puddle of drool halfway
I was just gonna say
drying
the
on your
drool.
cheek.
Oh, and back when you couldn't do the notes. Oh, see, she can actually see them. Oh, how cool. Oh, Sarah.
Ooh.
Oh, if you want to experiment with us, I would so appreciate it. I think that's so cool. Yeah, drool all over my desk. I used to have a math teacher in high school, and he'd be like, before you start talking or doing anything else, I'd rather you just pass out. So, of course, keeping long hours in high school, I would pass out. And I remember I'd get up but like, or a class that I'd have to do notes. You could tell because I wouldn't, you didn't have like now the kids could do, was it the dictation, I guess, or
Dictation.
whatever? Yeah, to take the notes. I don't know. And mine, you could see I wouldn't write in a straight line anymore. So when I would go to study, that's how I know that's where I was falling asleep because my notes would start slanting and my handwriting would get all messy. Plus, I wrote like in a shorthand only I could understand. So, that was cool. So people are guessing that Victor's aura is purple. So let's see.
Or
what,
blue. I would say blue.
blue.
Why do we have to do me first?
Well, that's just a guess, though.
No, it's just that's what Deb said. No, Sarah hasn't said
okay.
anything. New York
Okay.
Deb said. And there was actually some cool comments in here too. Wait, that I want to scroll before I guess we don't see them anymore. But I think Deb's also had said something about some door or something because she lives really close to nature and she's always in nature from what I understand. And I think she said something about some doors. I could probably do it quicker on that screen, but I don't know that screen. Oh, okay. I just had a door open by
It's worth a
itself,
try.
not wind. Are you guys messing with me?
No, I just shut my camera off for a second to see if that would bring me back, but nope.
Oh, okay. I see what's going on here.
Try reloading the software you're in, the EV Mux.
I did right before I went on, hey? And then the times that I backed out, I backed right out to the email and then back in. But I restarted my phone before I got on here?
Deb's just felt a presence. That's what it was. I just had a door open by itself, not wind, after I felt something evil was hanging around in here. Strange days indeed. That's see, but that's another thing too. Like people can, I I don't see, but and I wouldn't say, oh, like I'm the superb energy person. Maybe I'm better than I think actually, but I
Can
can
you
pick
get that
off
on a
the energy.
t-shirt? I want you to have that on a t-shirt. Superb energy person. I just
Superb
think
energy
that would be
person.
great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, sure. Let's market that. We need new merch. Okay. I'm just kidding.
We
Oh,
need
Victor's
merch. We
writing it
don't have
down.
any merch.
No. But I
I
just
want to have
I
merch
listen.
soon. I
Yeah.
just
Okay.
want to
So
make it. I think it's going to be fun. I love
It
doing
okay.
is
shit like
fun.
So
that.
we'll get that. We'll get that. Oh, okay. Wait. Is she responding? I somehow lost my place.
Oh,
Damn.
Sarah?
Yeah. I shut it off for years. It scared me at first, but I could tell intentions off of aura colors of people.
Mm,
Now it guides me. See,
mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm.
very cool. My oldest is doing auras, but
I think this is for you, Millie or Trista.
what's that?
I
Scotty,
tried that. I tried that. It didn't work. You just couldn't see.
you should have watched last week because Trista yelled at me because I was trying not to set my hair on fire, and I had my baklava with the candle going, and I had my laptop down, and I was wearing a jacket. I was very covered up, but Trista was thinking of you or like you.
And today I learned when I was on the phone with my friend, like we did a video call, and
Mhm.
I slid away. I rolled away in my chair to get something off one of my shelves, and then I'm like, oh, you can totally see that I'm not wearing pants when I'm this far from the camera. Whoops.
Oh, I thought you were gonna end it a different way, but hey, that's even worse.
What other way? That's even worse.
I'm not gonna say. Anywho, now I totally lost my train of thought because I had
Oh,
something else.
sorry.
No.
I don't mean to traumatize you.
It's always good.
You know, I had a friend of mine that sees them a lot too, and I think I shared this story with a few of you. But when she was living in Florida, and I think strange experiences follow some people. Some people are right there on the edge of
Oh
the
yeah.
veil. I think all the time, and I think you can have, if you're around those type of people, you can have these experiences with them. But she was looking out of her back porch. No, she was on her back porch, and she backed up, her house backed up to the Everglades or something, some big swamp. And so, you know, these things work when you're on a forest or something that's mowed, the grass is mowed up to a certain point, then it's all wild after that. And she was out there in the dark, had her porch light off, and she was just sitting, and she saw a green light come out of the forest, out of the swamp, and come up to the back of her neighbor's house that had the light on. And she saw this little light, and she saw something inside of it glittering around. And she went fairy automatically. She went fairy, and then it came up to the back of her neighbor's house, and she watched it the entire time, and it flittered around by the door, and then took off and went back out. She goes, I watched it for 7, 8 minutes. And
Oh,
she was just
wow.
sit there, her mouth agape, while having this experience. But, so a non-fairy related thing, and then we're going to cross-mogenate here for a second. She was sitting in that same town. It's on the east coast of the Florida Peninsula. It's on the east coast, whatever. It's one of the major towns on the east coast. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know my Florida geography super well, but she was sitting at a restaurant with one of her friends, and she goes, "Oh my God!" And she looked down the street 2 blocks, and there's a freaking flying disc, a UFO, sitting right there, bigger than anything, in a really busy area. And she's like, "Do you see that?" And he goes, "Oh my God, I see it." And she's looking. So this is the same person that had the experience to double down on what I said about some people have these experiences. And the thing about it is they didn't talk about it after seeing it, sitting there having that meal. They didn't talk about it for 4 or 5 years ever again. They never mentioned it again. And I'd be
I
like,
forgot.
you tell me. You see, I would of course but I'm kind of trained in that manner. I just heard somebody light a lighter, Trista.
Me
But
too.
then, and then,
Hey, I might as well take advantage of not being on camera.
there you
My
go.
nature girl.
But of course, if you ever have a sighting, you immediately write down the time, everything you can download, everything you can remember, write it all down right then. So that way, when you go to ufocenter.com and report it, you have it all written down. All right. Sorry about that. So back to the fairies. But
Oh,
see,
that's cool. But I wonder if they could have that effect on you too. So I wonder if there's
Hmm.
things that some technologies that we have heard of that come from the elementals, technologies that are used
Hmm.
on us because they already exist, and it's something that is copied because it's not something that it's not something that they thought of, but that they see, oh well, this power is like, so maybe
ooh,
they've been captured. You know how you always like see, like I remember I used to watch a show with my girls called H2O, and it was this Australian show about mermaids. And they always had to, keep it secret because they didn't want to get caught and be some kind of lab experiment, because that's, what happens. So maybe if these elementals or different types of interdimensional, I want to call them interdimensional things, because I
Hmm.
think that
Hmm.
it's also like, I think that sight thing is also being able to see into other dimensions, that they're probably here all
Hmm.
around us, but if we don't have that sight to see into those other dimensions necessarily, we won't see them. So let's say if these interdimensional creatures are captured and experimented on, part of the reason would probably be to see what their gifts are, right? So like to steal their gifts, and that could be some kind of technology that maybe they have. And maybe, as a kid you had this imaginary friend that forever you thought was an imaginary friend, but maybe you were hanging out with a fairy and you were hanging out with Bigfoot, and like you hear of these kids that are lost in the woods, and they'll come back and they'll tell you that they were with a bear or something. And how did this kid survive 72 hours in the woods and not get eaten in a place
and be six
that's,
miles away.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like there's a lot of things that are unexplained, and especially like when it comes to stories like that with children that are so innocent, and that there's no malice to them, and
Hmm.
so you could see something wanting to protect that child from the elements, from other animals, whatever kind of danger, you know I
Well,
don't
this
know.
this gets into that missing 401 stuff that I mentioned earlier, though. There's
Hmm.
tons of stories, especially in certain national forests in the United States. I don't know if I think it happens pretty much at, even in Canada and Mexico and probably all over the planet. But these people go missing, and it's like people literally walk around a corner or something. Somebody's there, and they should be there because they're two or three steps in front of you. And we've all been on
Hmm.
trails where you go around a corner, you can't see somebody for 2 seconds, and boom, they're gone. They are
Yeah.
gone.
There's one of the stories that he tells is there were, I think, four people and they were walking single file down their trail. And the person last, they turned like he was there, they were talking, and then he didn't say anything for a few seconds. And then they turned, he was gone. But not only was he gone with nowhere around for him to actually be, but the change and his keys and his wallet and all the stuff that would have been in his pockets was on the ground.
Oh wow.
Like,
Wow.
what the frick?
It's almost like he was vaporized, or like,
Yeah, yep, yeah.
like Star Trekky, when you go on that
Hmm.
holodeck and you kind of just,
I'm
what do they
beamed up,
call it? Yeah, what do you call it when you dematerialize?
dematerialized.
Yeah. So like that. That's pretty wild.
So is that still Fae? Is that are fairies and Fae the same thing?
Well, no,
In my,
I thought they were, but Lucky's making it sound like they're the Fae are the not so nice ones.
I always thought of the Fae as a blanket term,
That's what I used to
but
think.
I usually say elementals so that I'm kind of,
Hmm.
yeah.
I'm training myself to say that. That's wild.
Lucky.
Fae folk are wonderful and never want to say anything negative about them.
Ah.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm going to
Is
say.
it different? Is it, but the terminology, is the terminology different then?
Honestly, the labels are so gray, it's hard to say what is and what is not. So I don't know. Um, one time I'll say one thing, one time I'm just not sure. And I'm afraid, honestly, I'll be honest, I'm afraid to say anything negative about the Fae folk. So, and to take them away from being fairies, I wouldn't want to take anything from them. So let's just leave it at that. I am generally afraid to ever upset them.
Hmm.
Absolutely, positively, that's one thing that I will never do. And if they want to be called fairies, they're fairies. If they want to be called something else, they'll whatever they want to be. They want to be called brownies, which I've probably heard them called brownies and sprites and
Hmm.
whatever they want. But I think Fae folks is more of a universal term. But
Yeah.
I am not sure. I don't want to give them anything that they want. They don't want. But I do know that there's something about that word that does have kind of a gray negative connotation. I don't want to. I don't just. I respect them. I respect all of them. All the elementals. I respect them all. And I'm really nervous even talking about this right now for some reason. I generally have a little bit nervous using the term, but again, I respect them 100% and never make a deal with them because I don't want to owe them anything. But if they ask for something in kindness and compassion, I will do what they want. But that's another thing you got to watch out for that because they will obligations get you into contracts, and you don't want to be in contracts with any of those. Be at peace. That's why I like the intermediary. He's cool.
That's good. Yeah, because you don't want to have them come back and cash in that favor. And
Exactly. You do not want to. Oh, it's kind of like the genie thing, where any wish you make doesn't get you exactly what you want. You'll get your wish, but it won't be exactly what you want, what you think it will be. There's always something. There's always a caveat in there somewhere that will put you in a bad place. And if
mm,
they ask for a favor, you got to be careful with that too, because if they owe you, there's still a contract there. So, whew, I don't know. Honestly, I'm
interesting.
nervous about talking about this because I respect them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the intermediary.
But you know
Directly
them.
dealing with them, I don't want to be directly dealing with them because I don't want to have any. I don't want them to owe me. I don't want to owe them. That's how it is.
But I think
I've
that's a
always
nice
had,
way to have.
yeah, yeah. I've always had positive interactions with
Mm.
them. So I don't really like personally feel that kind of fear, though I know not to piss them off, but I feel like, and I wouldn't say anything negative about them because I don't feel negative things about them anyway. So that's easy. But like, because really, beings do what they're going to do, and there's no good or bad to it. It just is. So, I'm not afraid of that aspect, but yeah, but I know like, if I ask for their help, I'll give them a little treat after, or, some way to kind of create a balance. And that seems to have worked. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's if you live in harmony with them because you realize that you just like they are a part of the universe.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
and so I think if you treat them with respect, with reverence, I go out and I'll like say, hey, I'll acknowledge them, so the same way I'll go out and I'll be like, oh, hello,
Hmm.
son. Like if you listen to
Yeah.
Millie in the
Yeah.
morning when she steps out in the yard after the kids are gone to school and stuff, it's like, hello, Faye, and I'm over there, looking at my sage bush or talking to a tree, and just even just greeting it like I would greet someone that if someone's walking their dog and they pass me on the street. Hey, how you doing?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
And, Debs brings up a good question. What are grays? And I have actually here, I have a question. Do the Fae work with them, with the aliens?
I
Are
could
they
see
able to
that.
interact?
I could
Are they
see
able
that.
to interact?
I almost feel like the ETs would like them more than they like us.
Sure.
I mean, I do.
Well, I think that on a dimensional, if we go back to that whole dimensional level, I think that they're higher. So if the elementals are at a higher dimension or frequency than we
Hmm.
are, and ETs are coming from a higher dimension and frequency, then it's probably they probably do interact.
They could see each other, maybe. They can see one another.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
'Cause,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel inclined to say other dimension rather than higher or lower. It's just different.
Just
And I
different.
mean, they do interact with the earth in a better way than we do. And in that way, I would say they're, quote unquote higher. But I
Mm,
just feel
okay.
like our dimensions overlap. And that's why they're here, but not here. And why we can sometimes see them and sometimes not, because, the light's just not right.
Yeah, and a couple days ago, I was walking. I take Spork out. I mentioned it to some of you. I take Spork, my cat, outside in the backyard because he drives me nuts. He begs and begs and begs to go outside, even for just 30 minutes. And he
Nice.
runs around the backyard. Usually he's pretty calm, smells, has to go around the perimeter. And then he'll kind of get the zoomies and run around. And this conversation tonight made me think, I wonder if he's playing with them or running around with them or
Mm.
something, or they incite him to do that. And 2 days ago when it happened, I happened to look out and I noticed there was a dog up over the privacy fence holding on like this and trying to pull itself up to get over in the backyard. And it's the first time I've had that experience. And it was just my neighbor's dog.
And there was
But
nothing going on in your backyard at the time? Oh, that's
Other
interesting.
than Spork standing on
Oh,
the other
okay.
side of it.
Okay.
So the dog
Okay.
may have
Well,
been
that
interested.
counts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
fun.
it was interesting. So I wonder, or maybe the dog was seeing all the activity, not just Spork,
Mm.
but all of the activity going on. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that exercise of that soft glance or the space in between
Yeah.
whenever the weather turns again.
And you know what it reminds me of is the flyby kitty chasing something that we can't see.
Yes.
Oh, why don't we just assume?
Yeah.
Let's
I
assume
like
going
that.
forward from
Yeah.
this point that it's
And just
playing.
really quickly, while you were talking about the soft glance, Sarah, if you're still there, we didn't mean to put you on the spot uh,
Oh.
You
asking you because I
didn't?
don't see her in the chat anymore.
She's like,
it
I'm keeping
wasn't
my mouth
like,
shut.
yeah, it wasn't in any way to
She's
do
still in
that to
there.
you.
She's
I'm
still there.
sorry. Oh, okay. I don't want her to be like, oh man, I'm not going back there. Look what I'm not working or whatever. It's okay. But and Deb's not Deb's was it Kim Kidd said something about not to say thank you
Hmm.
because that's part of a contract, and
Oh,
I've never thought of
I
that.
haven't heard that before.
Yeah,
Because they may
you
In
think
know,
you
fact,
owe them something.
I feel like gratitude is
yeah,
super important with them. And I've also like what leads me to believe that I'm in good standing with them is that without me asking. So like if I'm on the bus, and it doesn't happen all the time, but enough that it's really weird. But if it's raining and I'm on the bus and it'll be raining hard, and this has happened multiple times, and then when I have to switch buses, it stops or it goes down to a drizzle. And I get off the bus and I walk where I have to walk. I get on the next bus and then it's pouring again. And then I get off. Like there was one time I took 3 buses, and every time that I was out of the bus was not raining. And when I was on the bus, it was frickin' pouring. And
I,
yeah, it was so weird, like so perfectly timed that I was like, okay, thank you.
I think
Appreciate
that's
this.
your
Yeah.
I think that's your higher witchy self.
But I feel
Feeling
like
that.
my higher witchy self is communicating or is tied to the elementals in that way,
Hmm. Yeah,
because
that's
it's
when you have
them
that.
that really have a lot to do with the weather.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
but that's pretty
That's a rich
cool.
tapestry.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And in closing too, just before we head off, I wanted to say that, as I've developed more of a relationship, not super strong, but just more of a relationship and acknowledging them, I was gifted some crystals, and I have I think it's like Picture This, or a rock app or something. And there was a time, maybe a year or two ago, that I actually found some adventurine and Lumerian crystal in my yard. And
Mm.
I asked, I'm like, can I
Ooh.
have this? And I went, I checked it out, and I was like, wow, isn't that crazy that I had been wanting an adventurine? And then I go out in my yard and I find one. And I mean, I don't know,
Ooh,
maybe it's normal for my area to have some of these stones in there, but I mean, I tend to, even from being a child, tend to, like, be aware of what rocks there are around, and I hadn't seen those before, so I thought it was kind of curious. So, and I did thank them. So, but I also put stuff out there for them. I'll put out milk, or I want to do a fairy house, but that's a topic for another day. I think we've covered a lot.
milk is always good for a snack. And speaking of
Yes.
fairy, come here.
Oh,
Oh,
so
aw.
cute.
Oh, nub nub.
Ah, adorable.
She's
I'm trying to see
purring.
if I can hear the purring. Yeah.
Oh, here. Hey, what's that? There
Hey.
you go.
What would you do if she started to sing?
Or speak.
Just like, or speak.
There's
I'd
some
be
of
glad
them
we
that,
recorded it.
yeah.
Oh, look at her little nose. I want to poop
Oh,
it.
too cute. And she just wants to hang on that shoulder.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so cute. Adorable.
Time for some
Oh,
daddy loving.
here. Yeah, I can hear a little bit of the purring now. Yeah, that's healing stuff. Well, thank you, everybody. There's
Thank
a
you,
whole
Millie.
lot. I don't think that we even covered most of it, but I'm glad that we had the conversations that we did, so that if maybe people have had experiences thinking that they saw something, they realize that no, they're not crazy. And if they
Mm-hmm,
are thinking they're crazy, they're just as crazy as the four of us.
mm-hmm.
And
Hopefully.
Oh, there's the purring.
yeah, yeah,
Now I hear
that's
it.
oh,
Oh.
so cute. Ah, we're getting some healing.
When
We
I
got
was
to
cleaning
record
off,
some of
when I
that.
was cleaning, when I was cleaning off my phone, I found a track of just like black that I don't know if I recorded it or found it somewhere, and this really loud purring.
Oh,
It's
Oh, we
awesome.
got to put
Yeah.
them out. Yeah, share that. Yeah,
Sure.
it's been
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
while.
I have no
Yeah.
idea if it's mine though, but that's okay.
and thank you for
Well,
the
Who's gonna
wonderful
know?
topic, Millie.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
thank you guys. So next week it's you that's hosting. So, right? I think Lucky had the now Lucky's frozen too. No, Lucky's got the list. I don't know if he's good at keeping track,
I
right? Is
think that's what came up in our Discord.
I, there was a week where I, like 2 weeks ago, I was there, but that was normally your spot. But I think you were out that week for your daughter's
It was
cheerleading.
well, it was also because we were planning on Victor's thing too, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yes.
so we're like, well, if
Everything
Lucky
got
can go this
wrapped
week, then
around,
Millie
so
has. Yeah.
I got confused because it's
So you haven't gone yet?
who, me?
Yeah, did you
No,
go?
he went early.
I did Lucid Dreaming, which was 2 shows
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
my turn.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, I
So
think
Victor's. I
so.
okay,
think it's Victor's. Because
Yeah.
before
cool.
me was Trista, then me,
Yeah.
but that was actually Millie's. Then I jumped up a spot. Yeah, we
Yeah.
shuffled things a little
Yeah.
bit, and I got confused.
That's okay. We all get a spot. That's all good.
It doesn't matter.
Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty much open call. So whoever wants it can have it.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and,
yes,
and
Alex, I just want to say cats definitely purring is very, very, very healing. I think they've even proven that scientifically, haven't they?
Yes, it mends
yes,
bones. It'll
Yeah.
actually mend broken bones.
Oh, that's crazy.
yes, I
Yeah.
heard that. I did hear that.
I definitely
That's
want to
another
see
good
that
sign.
picture Mary wins.
Huh?
Ooh, yes,
Oh, I want
please.
to see that. Yeah, that's way cool. See, some people actually capture them. I have pictures that I take pictures of stuff, and then later on I see things in it, but never a fairy. But that would be cool. Back in the 30 later days, where you go to CVS and get that stuff developed. But I'm sure it comes out in the digital pictures too. Um, Oh, and I'm floating around the idea. I sent it to the other people on the panel that maybe for April Fool's Day we do a New Year's Eve bash, and we just do like a special fun show, and that might throw us out of order again because it'll be just all of us. But we'll see how that comes along and what day that falls. Like today's the oh it just switched over here on the East Coast. The Ides of March,
Oh,
right? The
right.
15th. But that's okay. We don't need to celebrate that.
Beware.
Yes. All right,
Beware, I
guys.
hear.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You guys are wearing green
Caesar.
for St. Patrick's Day. Duh. I just put
Oh,
that
is that
together.
why? I was just wearing green, like, because
Oh.
it feels fairy-like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no.
What was
But
the intention, Millie?
it was for both, for fairies and St. Patrick's Day, because St. Patrick's Day is on Tuesday. So, yeah, a little bit festive, a little bit fairy. All right, guys. Have a terrific week. We'll see you back next week. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you, Melly. Thank
I
you,
love you
everyone.
Yay.
all. Take care.
Thank you,
I'm
Mike.
Bye.
waving.
Just
Namaste, my friend.
Oh, yeah, she's frozen. All right.
Love you all.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys.
All right, so now I hit end
Nope. You click down. You click down two
on the
screens.
side.
Oops. End screen on the side.
bop, bop, bop.
Main. Oh,